Okay, so welcome back to the Talon-Axe Armory with no moving footage. The reason there's no moving footage is I'm going to explain what's going on for once instead of just jumping in. I'm sitting here with Domochevsky of Genco Megawerks fame.
Hello, folks.
And I'm only running his hardware. Well, not only his hardware. I have a Shellington fly point in the second two videos, but they all use the same shell. So, well, you haven't made me a sidearm that uses shells yet.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, once you figure out a shell ejecting sidearm, guess what? I'll probably have one of those too.
Yeah, I don't think I can build that small.
Oh, it's ridiculous. Have you looked at the files for the fly point ever?
I've only ever seen the files for the shell. I don't know how the blaster works.
So the way it works itself is insane. And even like Heath Heel, who does all the other design work with Harrison for Shellington products, even he admits that fly point is basically witchcraft given form.
Yeah. Okay. Now I gotta look into it extra hard.
I'm
also trying to get a closer look at the MP5, but no luck.
Yeah. So I'm supposed to have one of those coming, but Harrison being Harrison, haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's get this rolling, and we are playing single shots only 315s. So you've seen enough gameplay to know what 315s is. 3 lives, 15-second respawn.
Got it.
Yeah. So I am breach loading Hammerwald because I had brought one of Lidl's Corsairs, but my my Corsair is tuned too hot to use squishy darts, and our club darts are terrible.
Yeah. Oh. The common crux of stringers.
Yeah. They need a really firm dart.
Oh, I see you top mounted a camera on there.
Yeah, I've got another camera feed, but I'll cut through that when I do final edits for this video. If there's anything that looks really good, but I've watched this once and I have nothing super impressive here. This is mostly about your tech being in the field and being used.
Nice. Kind of impressive that you're like single loading from the left.
So I find it easier to load them from the left, and then while I am priming the system into the forward position, to roll it to the right so it doesn't fall out, just because that way I am able to reach to a pouch on my left and pull from my left. Because I don't wear a dump on my right side, I do wear a dump on my left side.
Ah, I see. Are you using... Is that a quad elite shell?
Is that a what? Yeah, it's quad elite
shell.
Yeah,
you're putting those in manually. Well, good luck, my good man.
Yeah. Well, which might be why I have that mechanical malfunction in round 2, right? I might have got one where one of the darts had a little twist and got into that wheel gap. But like we had already talked about, I'm going to switch it over to Band Blaster 74s.
Yeah, you need to put these quad elites in a very specific position so they go between the flywheels.
Yeah. Which is kind of neat. That's one of those things that people don't know about your stuff. Like, those are indexed in the magazine. They have a groove left in the shell retention groove that it has to go along correctly.
In the basically less of a cutout than the proper shells, which are like cut out all the way around. And okay, so that pump is a bit crunchy in there.
Yeah, and we still have that issue where sometimes it comes a little too far back.
Oh yeah, right. Your model still has that.
Yeah, because I haven't printed any new files for it yet.
Good day.
I only have so many hours in the day.
Yeah, so do I. But yes, it's kind of nice seeing it actually being used out there.
Oh wait, no, I'm done.
And I will say, because we've got about 20 minutes worth of video. Here's me realizing that I'm eliminated. I've had my 3 lives, so I'm gonna wander around and pick up shells. But that's one of those things you'll see is like watching this in gameplay is fun. But motor tier, which I run in the 3rd and 4th rounds we're going to watch, motor tier going off, that rattle claddle of just the shells flying out of it is so good.
Yeah, that one is a mission success all around.
The only thing that my locals don't like about it is basically once I've pulled the trigger, it's going to do what it's going to do.
Yeah,
if I overtag, I'm sorry. It's throwing that many shells.
Very well done.
Yeah, like one trigger pull, just 6 shells coming out.
Yep.
Like, that's what it is.
There's footage somewhere on my channel where I pull the trigger on it and you can see just the arc of shells because my buddy Alan caught me from behind while I was firing. So there's just this
nice
rainbow of shells.
Yeah, which in fact you can do if you like have this multicolored shells just lined up.
Well, that's the other thing. I am in the process of, and very nearly have, switched over entirely to the injection molded fly point shells that they released with
nice.
with Kieran, which means I have no weird printing errors or, you know, the occasional shell that I thought this was ready to go, but it tore the rim off. None of that happens. So here we are. Here's single shots round 2, where Jacob is, as you can see, just firing Mega XL off of a spigot scar.
Yeah. That is, I'm gonna say old school.
It's so much fun to fire Mega XL off of that spigot scar on that Harrier.
Like that.
Yeah, because that Harrier has so much plunger volume that they fly forever.
Okay, spread out. Let's get this going real quick.
That is nice.
There's also, it's not on this video, it's on a earlier video. I'll have to dig it up and show it to you sometime. Firing Mega XLs out of Hammerwald, I can clear this gym end to end and hit about 3/4 of the way up that wall.
That's pretty good.
I was firing it like an artillery piece one day.
What are we calling it?
Yeah, which it's kind of what it is. This caliber.
Yeah.
Especially when you're firing Mega XL, because those are not accurate.
No, they are purely for intimidation.
Yep, absolutely. And there's the immediate tag on Amos as he's running in.
That is, are those still quad elites? No, surely not.
Oh yeah, it's still quad elite.
It is, yeah. I was gonna say, I recognize the shell color.
Yeah, those are the originals from you. Because I only run red or orange for quad elite, and then all my mega shells are blue.
Yeah, smart.
Yeah, and I did that for when we were going to PA Survival Fest, and I took it with me. I color-coded my shells so I could tell which one I was using when.
Yeah.
And then, actually, in gameplay at PA Survival Fest, I never even fired the thing due to shenanigans that happened in Mission 2.
I didn't think so either.
What?
Yep. During Mission 2, me and Alan took the zombie tag for people who said they didn't get tagged, and nobody could figure out who actually took the tag. Okay. So me and Alan went out early, and I handed Hammerwald off to Connor, the other guy who was with us. And I'm pretty sure that's when my motor died, for the record, because if you'll notice, my motor sound after this is different.
I can hear it very quietly.
Well, but now it's going to be whiny, and you see the little cloud of smoke poof out.
Eesh.
But that left motor died. It's those Merlins, man. Merlin motors are just not dependable.
Yeah, they are too highly tuned. Like, too much on the edge.
Yeah, they work okay in those micro wheel builds, but as soon as you try to make them do something like this, they just... I think it might be they don't have enough torque, right? They're spinning fast enough, but they're not torquey enough.
No, they are super torquey, but they are like... do you remember this like meme picture of someone's hand on a steering wheel and they have all these veins on the back?
Yeah.
Like, this is what Merlins are. They are so strong. They are like one paper cut away from death.
Yeah. And then here's me and Heath talking about the motor just died, and smells like it.
Yeah. I don't like that smell.
Nobody does.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody does. And that was the
changing motors in another Domochevsky product.
Because I've changed the motors in this one, in the rail cleaner, and I put a different cage in my motor tier. But I put a different cage in my motor tier because I wanted something. I just wanted different performance, and it's a strife cage, so just drop a cage in it.
It's just not something I wanted to do.
It's just part of the design. Just put in whatever.
I know Boomstick got a banned blaster cage in one.
Yeah, he had to do
I
like
gave
a
him
bit
one
of
Chris.
a small amount of violence
Yeah,
to get it in there.
their cage is a little beefier because of
Yeah.
those wheels than the
That's
standard
later.
strife cages.
It
Okay,
is.
so you're changing out
for you.
camera equipment.
I thought
Yeah,
you
I'm
were
taking
saying
the
this is
camera
last
off of
year
it and just
you
throwing it
gave
in
him
the
this. I
case
was
so
like,
I
it
could
is.
pull footage later because I don't have a mount on motor tier for that camera yet.
Yeah, the newer models do have a Picatinny rail on top, or no rail.
Mhm. Yeah, I got to figure out where I'm going to put that camera on motor tier. I might mount it sideways on the
Oh, yeah.
on the battery housing so that I can just take video that's already correctly oriented for shorts.
Yeah, that seems reasonable.
So here we are coming out with motor tier, joking
Mhm.
about that. No, there's no stopping motor tier once you pull the trigger.
You guys ready?
Okay, just until the mag is empty.
Uh-huh, pretty much.
And
Three,
it is difficult to contain yourself.
1.
Oh, again with the noise.
It's the only... I've got all these kids that we play with who are between, like, 14 and 17. And the only thing they respect is the whistle. They barely respect tagging rules. And then for this, with our indoor game, we have kids as young as 8. And there's a couple of them who... It's like, no, you got tagged. You need to go respawn. I literally watched 4 darts bounce off your chest. Just go respawn, bro. And like, we're all bad about that at times, right? You'll get going, the adrenaline's pumping, you don't notice it.
Mm-hmm.
But with some of these kids, it's every time.
Right. Also, you got caught.
Mm-hmm. Well, and in this video, I'm going to have sometimes motor tier. If you have a dart come out funky, you end up and it jams up through the barrel.
Yeah. And you only notice like 10 darts later.
Mm-hmm. And at that point, you got to get something and go after it. Like, you don't have a choice.
Yep, just use one long stick to even start clearing that out.
Yeah, I've got one of those like extendable, flexible grabber arm things that they sell for like plumbers and stuff.
Okay.
I've got one of those that has a light on it, and I use that to clear basically any barrel fouling in a flywheeler. It doesn't work in my springers, but my springers, I have a 3D printed scram rod, and I just wham.
I see it. That's the jam happening.
Mm-hmm. That's the realization point. First thing I do is open the cage and make sure I haven't fouled the cage. Give it a shake, see if I'm lucky. I'm not lucky, so I'm going to end up grabbing a screwdriver here. I'm kind of digging them out because I didn't think to bring anything long enough.
Yeah. I had this happen like 2, maybe 3 times during like test firing. It's like, okay, why is there nothing coming out?
I can normally do dozens of mags of the shells. No problem.
That's it, you and me.
But the minute I put that Talon adapter in it, it jams.
Yeah, that kind of is weird. Like, I think the pusher is too fast. It just misaligns the jars.
Yeah, and I think sometimes it catches 2 on the adapter because the adapter is the spacing's a little different and it wasn't designed for it. And I'd say that like, oh, it's a mistake on your part, but it's the same thing with the Kieran Talon adapter for the angled Talons that Shellington put out for the Kieran. It has the same issue. It doesn't feed reliably. So
yeah, it's different center point on the geometry.
Yep. And it's just enough difference to screw everything up. I'm like, okay, it's working now.
Okay, good.
But it's empty.
Oh yeah. I was gonna say, like, why is there nothing coming out?
Yeah. That was the realization. So it's like, fine, I'll just walk back.
Yeah, sure.
I joked when we started this round before footage started. I'm like, well, we're going to stay on this end. And the guys are like, well, why are we? I'm like, because I want to be on this end so I don't have to carry these mags.
Right.
But that's the game ending. I'm going to take a drink. And then I think I wander around a little bit here and get some footage.
Okay. It kind of makes me wonder if I should put, like, a sling point on each magazine.
Oh God, yeah. Or I've thought about putting them on. I use magnetic holsters from Armstrong Accessories. I've thought
Sound
about putting
familiar.
magnet bars on the magazines so that they will just hang on my hip. I've got him looking at the fly point mags right now to make some kind of holster scabbard thing for those, like he makes for Talon mags.
Yeah, that's
But
that's not a bad idea. Like maybe we should talk to that guy more.
both the
That's a pretty good
Hammervold
shot.
mag. Yeah, Heath's good about that kind of thing. Both
Just
the
sneak
Hammervold.
behind it.
We're out.
Right, continue.
Yeah, the Hammervold mag and the Motor Tier mag, they're both just massive.
Okay, let's gather at the start.
Yeah,
Switch
I'm
sides.
not gonna
one for
watch
different
clean
reasons.
up here, but we're gonna talk for a minute. What was that?
Like one for different reasons than the other.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
When
because,
we went to passive with
There's a couple under
with
Alan.
Hammervold, I legitimately, that backpack that Alan's wearing, we're both wearing one of those. And legitimately, we had one magazine for Hammervold in the blaster, and then he was carrying my spares in that backpack because we couldn't come up with any other way to carry those massive magazines.
yeah, and those are already minimized magazines. Like,
Yeah, they're pretty much as small as you can make them and them still
Yes,
function.
That's how you should play.
yeah. Like imagine like
Especially in a
fully
game.
encasing the shells.
Yeah, like filling that whole thing with that harmonica clip that you built.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, let's get
That is
sides
not happening.
switched. Let's do this.
Yeah, so we'll skip that.
Yeah.
So this is a completely different game mode that didn't work at all, and we will never play again. But you saw me pick up the fly point. That's going to be important. So in doing our dart sweep and stuff, I only got 60 rounds reloaded and into magazines. So I only have 2 magazines for motor tier for this round. And
60 rounds, only 2 magazines.
Right, which is nothing.
It doesn't really throttle back.
Yeah, it kind of isn't, but it is, but it isn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yet lighting up Amos when he's running a knife and nothing else for some reason.
Which is
He's-
brazen, I'm gonna say.
He's 14. He makes terrible decisions. He's also wearing
He's
a
also
tactical
fast.
helmet. Yeah, he does have that on his
This
side.
isn't Counter-Strike.
You know, he's fast. He's got good knees.
Yep, exactly. He doesn't have to worry about things like tomorrow morning not being able to walk because you took the wrong sprint at the wrong time.
Yeah. So it's a viable tactic.
Yeah, you know,
But then he runs into this wall of darts.
the rattle claddle of motor tier just makes him go, oh, that was probably a mistake.
Yeah. Decisions were made. Some of them were poorer than others.
Yep. It's a weird choice, but it's the one he made.
Mm-hmm. And now many of us have to live with it, but he doesn't.
He's a good kid, and he comes out every game. Like, he doesn't miss game for anything.
Oh, nice.
But he does make some decisions like that, running nothing but because that kukri rubber knife he's running is maybe 6 inches long. So like he's got to be close enough to punch somebody.
Yeah, that is very melee.
It's a very limited choice.
And
Yeah, this
you know,
game
listen,
mode, as long as that blue ball is in play, we can respawn on a timer. And we used to play this mode, and we call it Kings. Some people call it VIP. But, like, we ran this game, and I look at Jacob at the end of this video. I'm like, yeah, that mode doesn't work. Because we're going to go to the time limit and then have to do the sudden death.
All right, explain the mode.
So, basically, you have unlimited respawns. It's a 5-second count in. But you're trying to get that ball, right? You're trying to find the other team's ball. And once that ball is out of play, they can't respawn anymore. They've only got the lives on the field. But the problem with this game mode is it leads to someone, in this case Jacob here on the left side of the screen, bunkering for the whole game.
Yeah.
And I don't like any game mode that takes a player out of play for long periods of time, much less the whole game like it does here.
You mean like standing in a corner and just turreting?
Absolutely. because
yeah.
it's one thing, like outside it wouldn't be as bad, because outside you can attack that point a little more regularly, and you can have somebody set up with a very long ranged option and kind of cover the field to themselves. But because we're playing in the gym, I mean, it's a basketball court, right? We've all been on a basketball court. It's not that big. But there it is. I have run out of my 60 rounds, and I have switched to the Shellington fly point.
Okay. That one's single fire, isn't it?
It is. It is single fire, and it is an entirely mechanical pusher and release system. It's not electronic. So when you pull, yeah, the ball rolling out, and I scoop it up. When you pull the trigger, it not only pushes the pusher into play, but it pulls that slide back and ejects.
Okay,
So it is a really cool system, and it's really interesting mechanically, and it works really well, shockingly. But it does mean that trigger pull is really, really heavy. So that trigger, it's actually a 2-finger trigger.
Damn.
Yeah, and I'm a big guy with big hands. I can comfortably fit 2 fingers in that trigger.
Okay. And you need to, apparently. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Now, a couple of them, I know Valor. I just bought one off of Valor. Because he posted like, hey, I'm having some issues and I need to sell some stuff. And I was like, yeah, I'll buy that off of you. And then Heath actually bought it from me right after. He was like, did you pick that up? I was like, yeah. He was like, can I buy it from you? I was like, yeah, absolutely. And
yeah, cool.
Yeah. And I know it's 1 finger. Like, he's got it cleaned up to the point where it's a 1-finger trigger pull. And the one he built for Wallcom, I know is a comfortable 1 finger. But mine, it's way more comfortable with 2 fingers. And it is, there it is. It had a little hang up, but that's cool.
But even the slide action is cool on this thing.
The way that slide locks open, and it's this big open breach, it really feels like Judge Dredd or something when you have it in your hand. Because it's such a massive piece of tech. And it is one of those things that kind of like your stuff. It's ironically Harrison and you both have kind of a interesting design language with like the choice of screws and how you put things together. No one else would have designed Flypoint the way Harrison designed Flypoint, right? Nobody would even approach that problem the same way. But when Harrison decided he wanted to do it, he built this monstrosity that is an absolute joy to fire and just looks so cool on the field.
Yeah. And, ejecting shells, it's just cool, no matter what you do.
No, that's exactly the conversation I had with Heath, which is the guy squatting on the left side of the screen down there because he's technically the ref right now. That's exactly the conversation me and Heath had today. Is so many people spend so much time in this hobby worrying about, but it's got to hit 200 FPS or it's got to hit 250 FPS or whatever the number is that they're chasing. And they don't think about
for his pocket.
This sport, this is a game. We're supposed to be having fun.
I'm not in. I'm doing camera work.
Why are you so concerned about how fast it goes? And it's one of the conversations I have a lot with our younger players. Is like, but do you like it? Well, no. Then why are you using it? Do something that's fun.
Yeah. Like, I remember Piggy having posted some footage of having done a John Wick round. And everyone was just dressed the way, using guns the way, flipping around the court the way. And it's cool, Well, it's fun.
Yeah, because we'll play... we have loadout restrictions now. That happened because we had guys running literally like 2 high cap primaries at the same time.
No, you're both out.
That's a double tag in there?
Yeah, they both tagged at the same time, and I couldn't tell which one of them got tagged first, so they're both out. Just trade. It's the fairest way. And the other thing is that young man is pretty famous for like, no, I didn't get tagged. Yeah, you did. So just take your tags.
That's it. Game.
But yeah, that's That's game.
Game,
So there you
everybody.
go, Domo. There's what your stuff looks like in
Where's
play,
That does.
which
Yeah,
is
it's pretty nice.
a little different for you.
Mhm.
And you saw some mechanical failures that were probably my fault, but who knows?
It's interesting though.
Yeah.
Informative.
So
Because I kind of need this information to make it better, you know?
yeah, I mean, you live far enough away from any kind of games in your country or even in your geographical region, right? Because obviously European countries do not take up quite as much space as America does, that there's nothing for you to go to, which is something that I think people lose in talking about your stuff, is that you live so far from games and you're not designing things for the game. You're designing things because they're cool. They fit in the universe and in the design language you've developed. And people don't appreciate that. It does lead to, as you and I have discussed, some screwy ergo on a couple of your
Yeah.
blasters.
That is true.
But they're also, nobody else is making a blaster that fires Quad Elite and Mega XL with the change of a shell.
Yeah, like the idea of putting like multiple darts through a set of flywheels, like what?
Mm-hmm.
You can do that?
And when
Well,
people see it, right? Because obviously I've taken it a couple of places. I took it to Pennsylvania with me. You take it out and people are like, well, how does it fire 4 darts? I'm like, it just squeezes them together. That works? Yeah, works pretty good.
Yeah. And no one expected it, and I didn't know that it can be done, so here we are.
Yeah. Well, and then things like the pusher fix, right? That for Hammerwald, you have that captive pusher inside the shell.
Yeah.
And, people are like, well, how does that work? I'm like, it literally is just a plastic plug. It just hits the plug and the plug pushes. And people
Basically,
are like, really?
And I printed it in place just with like tiny bridges.
Mm-hmm.
You just take a hammer to it, pop, and it's ready to go.
Yeah, I found that I pop them loose and then I have to take a really narrow file and kind of clean up that channel a little bit, but then it works great.
Oh yeah, the bridge, like the leftovers. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
do
usually
that.
when you like walk it back and forth a bit, it kind of fixes itself. But yeah, file works too.
Yeah, I take a file to it a little bit, and then I normally I put a little dry lubricant in there in the channel so that it moves more freely.
Yeah, sure. That's reasonably smart.
But I'd
And
like to
also
thank you for doing this with me. This was a lot of fun and really different for me. And the next time I run your stuff, maybe we'll circle back around and see what I can break this time.
All right, yeah. Do invite me again to do these commentaries with.
Yeah.
It's kind of entertaining.
Yeah, thanks, buddy. I appreciate it.
Yeah, same here.